So I'm not going to, I'm not going to live stream and go up against some other live streamers doing this right now. So I'm just gonna come on here with this recording, so that way if anything comes up, I can pause. No, hold on. Sorry about that. This is getting ready to start. That's when the phone rings. Um, but yeah, I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to be competing with the live streamers like JD and just Alex and Solomon and all of them. I just want to come on here, give you my thoughts on the first Raw on Netflix, the first of the streaming era for the next 5 years. And I do want to say this. As I was trying to say, they had names in there, celebrities, current stars, legends. Um, I think what it is, and I think JD from NY206 from Off the Script said it best. This was basically a PLE. I'll put it this way: this was kind of like a WrestleMania light. Is what it was. So WrestleMania light PLE, where basically it was a showcase. It was a WrestleMania light showcase. It was WrestleMania light. It was WrestleMania like, but it was a showcase to say, hey, we're here. This is what you know. This is what we're about. This is what you're gonna get, and it's just gonna, basically what they gave people tonight was a taste of what's to come. And I think, going into next week in San Jose, in San Jose, they're going to settle in and get back into the groove and everything. One thing that Paul Levesque, Triple H, has said is that the timing is going to be flexible. Like tonight was 3.5 hours, or just a little over 3 hours, which is good. That's we know Raw has been 3 hours before, but it's never gone beyond that. So and you only had just had a selected amount of matches. So to me, I think that was again, that was just a way of saying, this is, a taste of what you're going to expect in the next, 5 years, if not 10 years, with us, when it comes to the presentation. But I think, again, next week, when they're in San Jose, they're going to start getting into that groove and everything. And I think having, like 4 or 5 matches, during this, if you will, is enough, especially if you want to give those matches time. Like the main event, like the opening match, the Tribal Combat, the main event, Punk and Rollins, they got plenty of time. Rhea and Liv got plenty of time. Um, even as dead as the crowd was, as some people put it, for Jay and Drew, they got plenty of time. But this is just the first night. This is just the first week. You got to give it time. They got to adjust. You got to remember when they went to Spike TV, TNN. When they went over there, they had to adjust how things were done there. Like you had basically it was not much of a big of an adjustment, but it was just enough of an adjustment to it's like, okay, we got to do this, we got to do that, and everything that works around TNN and Spike. And then when they went back to USA, they had to readjust to how things are. They had to adjust to how things were done there. Like, okay, this is what USA, will do commercial wise. This is how they'll present us. Da da da. And things. They had to adjust, and to me, that's exactly what you're seeing here. They have to adjust to what you were getting, with Raw being on Netflix. Um, Again, to me, this was, as JD puts it, was a showcase. It was a showcase for Monday Night Raw on Netflix to show the world that might be new to Raw. They know about WWE, but they don't know about the product entirely. And now it's on the biggest streaming platform in the world, being seen all at the same time. In fact, Michael Cole even pointed that out, like, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're watching us. Because that's the big difference as well for anybody watching this on Netflix, is you're not going to be dealing with tape delays anymore. You're not going to be dealing with tape delays or anything like that. You're going to be watching it live as it happens, and if you miss it, it will be on demand. Hopefully, it will be on demand. So if you come home from work and you're like, oh man, I missed Raw, you can actually watch it in its entirety, if you want to, on Netflix. As soon as you settle in and everything. Um, but yeah, this was basically a showcase. This was like a WrestleMania-like presentation, but it was like WrestleMania light, period. Um, and I have to say, I enjoyed it. Triple H narrating the beginning, how it's a new era, the ring being covered with curtains, and the curtains come down. And there's Triple H welcoming everybody to Monday Night Raw into the Netflix era. I thought that was a cool touch to begin it, and then you follow that up with The Rock showing up, and The Rock welcoming everybody to the Netflix era, and basically talking about how how important tribal combat's going to be, how important that match is, his lineage and all that. And what really surprised a lot of folks with The Rock tonight was we didn't get final boss Rock. We didn't get heel Rock, if you will. We got babyface Rock. That's what we got. We got babyface Rock. And he did acknowledge Cody Rhodes, saying that, hey, they spilled blood before, they're going to do it again. Basically saying, hey, we still got a date with Destiny, in the ring. So yeah, he even acknowledged Roman Reigns as the true tribal chief. So you got to wonder how that's going to play into maybe the storyline with Rock. Like, Solo hears this and it's like, wait a minute, I have the Ulafala, and he's calling Roman the tribal chief. What the hell? So it's going to be interesting to see how things play out. A lot of people are saying, as I drink some Bud Light there, some people are saying that Solo's going to get turned on this week by Jacob Fatu and the Tongans, but we'll see. We'll see exactly what they do and all that. But they might surprise us and say, what Rock's going to do at WrestleMania is not going to be Roman, it's going to be Solo. So that might be something to look into as well. But yeah, you had Babyface Rock out there, so that was pretty cool. And I'm assuming this is what I'm thinking. It's a new era, so you're like, well, we don't want to bring in Final Boss Rock yet. We want people to know that this is the genuine person who's part of the TKO board, has bought more WWE stock, so we want them to see the real Dwayne Johnson, the real Rock, and not character Rock, not heel Rock. So I can understand that. And then what followed, of course, was the tribal combat match, and I thought that was good. The storytelling was okay in it. Basically, you had Solo basically saying a lot of what Roman had said to the likes of Jimmy and Jay when he'd go up against them and all that. Basically giving Roman a taste of his own medicine. But, just when it looked like Roman was getting the upper hand, you knew it was going to get out of control, and it did. You had weapons in there. You had, of course, a kendo stick. You had chairs. You had tables and everything. You had stairs. The one thing they kept going to for this match in the main event was the announce table, and this announce table is not going to break. Well, I'm not saying it will. I got a feeling eventually it's going to break. You don't just have an announce table there and have the wrestlers go on it without, having the intention if it's going to break. And it's built solid. You can see it's a solid build, but it's got to break eventually. But yeah, this tribal combat match was good. The storytelling was great, and in the end, you had Roman Reigns win. Despite everything that Solo and his team or his group threw at him, you had Sammy and Jimmy coming out to intervene. You had Kevin Owens show up and stun Roman, and then you had Cody intervene. So that right there too, I want you guys to really pay attention that Kevin Owens went after Roman, and we know Drew's going after Roman. So we got to look at the fact that 2025, Roman's going to face one of those two men. Well, not one of them, but both of those two men at separate times at a PLE. We know that's coming. Some would say WrestleMania might be the destination, but I don't know. I don't know if WrestleMania will be the destination for Drew and Roman or Kevin and Roman, but we'll see. I think, if I'm a betting man, if I'm a betting man, honestly, I would say that I would say WrestleMania would be Drew and Roman, and then I'd say SummerSlam's Kevin and Roman. That's just my opinion. Just my opinion there. But we'll see. We'll see what they do. But the match, outside of all that, well, like I said, still told a good story in between that. And in the end, Roman countered a Samoan spike into a Superman punch, and then a spear, and I think another spear, excuse me, and got the win and got the Ula Fala. And then what happened afterwards is, he's on his knees, and so is Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman gets in the ring with the Ula Fala. He's going to hand it to Roman. But then, as they're handing, all of a sudden out comes The Rock. And this is where things got interesting, because people are thinking, oh, is The Rock going to attack him? Are we going to get Final Boss Rock? Nope. Instead, Rock comes in casually, asks Paul Heyman to hand him the Ula Fala. He says, Paul Heyman kisses it, and everything, hands it to Rock, and then Rock, basically drapes it over Roman's, over his head, and declares him officially tribal chief. Because also, what's interesting, I think this is why Rock was going babyface, is he was recently, I don't know when this happened, but he was recently dubbed High Chief, officially High Chief of his family, by the official priest of the Samoan tribe, Polynesian Samoan tribe that he's part of. So Rock, Dwayne Johnson, is an official High Chief, and I think that's why he also went babyface as well for tonight. Now, saying we're not going to get heel Rock down the line, but I think because of that, they want to play into it and have Rock be the babyface here. And I believe we're going to have, I think Rock's going to get involved with this whole thing down the line, but I think what's going to happen is Rock's going to get involved when it comes to Solo more than anything, and that would be a big match for Solo down the line, because if they don't kick Solo out of the group and he goes and does his own thing or goes back to Roman, I think what's going to happen is you're going to have Solo want revenge on Rock and say, well, if I can't be tribal chief, I want what Rock has. I want the high chiefness. So I think that's probably what's going to happen. But overall, it's a good match. And yeah, after, you had the stare down between them, Rock taking off the glasses and everything. And here's what I was thinking was going to happen. Rock was going to shake his hand and embrace him, which he did, but then he was going to rock bottom him and, off to the races. That didn't happen. They played it safe, and I think they're just waiting for the right time to do something. We just don't know when. But overall, the match was good. It was really good. Then, of course, they showcased a lot of the celebrities that were in the audience, as well as some of the superstars in the audience, as well as in the suites of the Intuit Dome. Intuit Dome, which I'll give them credit. They made that Intuit Dome look nice. I mean, we knew it was going to look nice no matter what kind of events were there, but this made it look really nice. And I can't say any more than that. But then we had, I believe we had Rhea Ripley. I think we had Rhea Ripley against Liv Morgan, and as expected, as a lot of people believed, Rhea Ripley ended up beating Liv Morgan. The match was decent. It was decent. Not Liv, but Rhea took out Raquel earlier on in the match, or as best as she could. Raquel did try to interfere, which did allow Liv to hit an Oblivion on Rhea onto a chair, which that did not work. Dom tried to interfere by tossing the, actually what happened is Dom threw the belt in there, and that distracted the referee enough to where Raquel was able to get up and distract Rhea with a chair, slide that in, and then that allowed, like I said, Liv to hit an Oblivion on Rhea, but that didn't end the match. And Liv, give her credit, she did fight in this, she did her best, but you can also tell she was getting cocky at times and everything, when she had Rhea down. And and let's be honest, it's, as a wrestling fan, it's wrestling knowledge 101, that when the heel gets as cocky as, Liv was getting, when, during this match with Rhea down, you just knew, oh yeah, that she's losing tonight. She's losing, and she did. Because Liv tried to go for a second oblivion, but Rhea caught her. She caught her, basically prevented it from happening. Looked at her, smiled, like this sinister smile came over her face. And Liv, she just had this look on her face of, and Liv, she had this look of fear on her face, like, oh shit, like she knew, oh shit, my reign's over. And basically Rhea picked her up, tossed her down, and then hit her with not one but two riptides to win and regain the championship. And then Dom, he tried to kiss up to Rhea, saying, "Hey, mommy, I'm back on your side. I've never was, with Liv and everything." And Rhea, she played into it she played into it, but only to sucker Dom into getting kicked in the nutsack. And then he got hit with a riptide as well. And that's something people have been waiting for, and I guess they wanted to save it for the premiere on Netflix. Drinking more Bud Light there. Of course, they had some backstage stuff as well. In fact, one of the matches that was supposed to happen tonight got pushed back because, according to reports, Triple H needed to have a little bit more time with his introduction promo, and then, of course, with The Rock being there, you have to make time for things. So they had to push a few things, to next week. One of the things they pushed to next week is going to be the women's finals for the Intercontinental Championship between Dakota Kai and Lyra Valkyrie. So if you're in San Jose and everything, get tickets, check that out. I think you're going to have a classic on your hands there. You're going to have a classic. Then we had John Cena come out, big pop for him, and he acknowledged all the reports, all the rumors, that were going about, with his career and his final year. And, he played into the fact that he's not going to get, number 17. It's not going to happen unless he finds a way to make it happen, unless he earns his opportunity into it. And then he brings up, the fact that he's going to enter the Royal Rumble, and he's not only going to enter it, he's going to win it, and he's going to do it because of the fans that have supported him for the past 20 plus years. So that's pretty good. Nice promo there. Then we got another backstage thing, I think, with Adam Pearce. He was talking with Bayley. Looks like Bayley's going to be coming over to Raw, maybe. We'll see. It looks like that's going to happen. And because he did mention when he's talking to her about the transfer portal, so we might see Bayley on Raw. That's another challenger you can put into the list of challengers potentially for Rhea, as well as another list of individuals to compete for that women's Intercontinental title. But then, in the interview that he was having, he got interrupted by American Made, by Chad Gable. And Chad basically said he could take on any luchador. Name the luchador, he'll take him on next week. It doesn't matter. And Adam's like, okay, no problem. He said he excused himself from Redmond and said, I need to make a few phone calls. And what's ironic is just a little before this, you had a full-on, pretty much officially saying that Penta is coming. And it looks like that's going to be his name. It's just going to be Penta. It's not going to be Penta El Zero Mero yet, or Pentagon Jr. It's going to be Penta. So yeah, they did that right before this. So I think instead of, it being the New Day, which originally was supposed to be the New Day, and against Rey Mysterio and a partner of his choosing, it looks like it's now going to be Chad Gable against a mystery of luchador, which obviously is going to be Pentagon. It's going to be Penta. It's going to be Penta El Zero Mero, Pentagon Jr., and that's going to be good. What a way to kick the second week off on Netflix. You know what I'm saying? Outside, and then after that, we had Jay and Drew McIntyre. Jay came out, with his entrance, but he came out with his entrance being performed by Travis Scott, who some noted was smoking weed. He was actually smoking a blunt, on the show. So that was pretty cool. They also noted that Rock got to say bullshit, didn't get censored, although we did get a censorship with the interview CM Punk did at the end of the show, in the pre-show, or the post-show, I should say. as well as I think they censored Logan Paul saying something during his vignette promo. So yeah, they're still gonna censor, but I think it's like certain individuals are not going to. It's like depending on who you are, they're not gonna censor you. CM Punk may have said something, a little like beyond BS. So that might have been why they censored him well. But I think over time you're gonna have a little bit more leniency with individuals like Punk and Rollins, and along the lines of Rock and Cena and them and Triple H having some leniency. You're gonna see Punk and Rollins and a few others, Roman, get that same kind of leniency. Then we had, like I said, Jay against Drew. This was a good match, despite how fans would say, oh, they were dead for it and everything. Yeah, the fans were kind of like indifferent a little bit. I mean, they were yeeting a lot, so that takes a lot out of you, The match was decent. Told, I thought, a decent story. Well, Drew, he's trying to do his best to eliminate all those aligned, if not associated, with Roman Reigns. But in the end, Drew got a little cocky because it looked like he had just beaten and chopped Jey Uso down to the point of exhaustion, to where Jey couldn't even, stand up for a second Claymore and all that. And Drew got cocky, and basically Jey suckered him in, when he was trying to go for another Claymore, and Jey rolled him up, got the 1, 2, 3. And then that was it. And then they just went to behind backstage or something like that, which really kind of got on people's nerves, the way how quickly they transitioned from the end of that match to backstage. Again, this is just their first week and they're still adjusting. I think it's mainly when you look at the commercials, because there were commercials if you lived here in the U.S., not internationally. Internationally you were good, but here in the U.S. you had commercials, which was kind of crazy. If you're on Netflix, you want to limit that as much as you can. So anyway, basically, I think, but anyway, though, like I said, they kind of transitioned real quickly after that to behind the scenes and everything, or to backstage and everything, and people were kind of criticizing that, so I don't blame them with that, but I think over time, they're going to adjust and they're going to realize, okay, we can't transition too quickly after something like that, we've got to give it time to breathe. And I think commercial-wise, they're going to work it out towards like, look, let's not do many commercials and everything. Let's just, do a certain amount and go from there. Just do a certain amount, go from there. And I think that's all they should do. And I think with important matches, like let's say the main event and Tribal Combat, no commercials. Have no commercials. But yeah, the match was okay and everything, and can't really say any more than that. They had Hulk Hogan come out, and he got booed, believe it or not. And I think it's because you got to remember where they're at too. And I say this with all due respect. They're in Los Angeles, Inglewood, and that is known, or has been known via the news outlets as being a sanctuary city. A city that our president-elect's new border Cesar wants to basically get into and say, hey, you're not supposed to be here legally. You're not supposed to be here. You need to go back to your country. Like, and all that. Basically, that's what Inglewood and the Los Angeles Orange County area is. That basically it's a sanctuary. It's been built up as a sanctuary city, and you got, like I said, President-elect's border Cesar wanting to go in there and take the people out of there that don't belong legally there. And I think that's why Hogan got booed, because you got to remember, before we saw Hogan out there tonight, he was supporting Donald Trump. He was supporting President Trump with, Make America Great, MAGA, the MAGA, Make America Great logo across his shirt. And he was even wearing one when he was coming into the arena tonight, onto the Intuit Dome tonight. So, yeah. Yeah, he was wearing that coming into the Intuit Dome as well, before he switched out and was wearing one that said Real American Beer, and then he took that off and showed Netflix is Raw. So, but yeah, I think the reason he got booed, he got a bit of a mixed reaction, but the more he talked, the more he got booed. And I think, again, it's because of who he supported, in the election. And like I said, you got to remember, this is a city, or at least it's one of the cities in the county, in the Orange County, that's looked at as sanctuary. that the board of Cesar wants to get into and say, hey, this person's not supposed to be here, that family's not supposed to be here, because they didn't come in legally, they need to go back. So I think that's why he got booed. But look, like him or not, like who he supports or not politically, the guy's a legend. He's a legend. Let's be real. There would not be a WWE. There would not be a Monday Night Raw if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan and Hulkamania. So let's be real there. But I understand how people feel, and I think that's why he got booed. That's why he got booed. After that, they promoted all the other events coming up, like Royal Rumble in Indianapolis, Lucas Oil Stadium in a few weeks. They promoted Saturday night's main event, which is going to be the week before. And then, of course, they made it official, whether people like it or not, Royal Rumble 2026 in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Yeah, I know people may not like that, but as I've said before, when I did the wrestling news and I talked about it, I think the reason WWE is doing this is to fulfill their obligation with the Riyadh seasons, the Riyadh sports people, Saudi Arabia sports and all that. They're trying to fulfill their obligation so they can get out of this deal a lot quicker than normal. Because you can't tell me they didn't have a city in North America, if not, in Mexico or the UK, lined up for the Royal Rumble. You can't tell me they didn't, because they did. But I think the reason they're doing the Royal Rumble in Riyadh, like I said, is they want to get their deal done with this, with the Riyadh seasonal Riyadh sports affiliates as quickly as possible, so they can end this, quicker than normal. And they don't have to wait until May or November and everything to make it happen. But yeah, they did advertisements for that. They did the advertisements for next week's Raw, where we're going to have, like I said, the finals for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. We're going to have Chad Gable against the Mystery Luchador, obviously Penta. And then we're going to have Sheamus against Ludwig Kaiser. And then we're going to have a street fight. And the objects they were showing, when they were advertising the street fight, are the kinds that you would normally see, like, chairs, tables, stuff like that. But they also showcased barbed wire baseball bat, a chainsaw, which I'm kind of like, okay, what is that? But yeah, the street fight next week is going to be between Damian Priest and Finn Balor, and then that might be the match after it's all said and done, where Finn Balor gets kicked out of the Judgment Day. That's just my opinion. I got a feeling this Friday and next Monday is going to be are going to be nights in WWE of certain individuals, leader-like individuals, getting kicked out of their own groups. That's just my opinion. So we'll see it maybe with Solo if they go through with it on SmackDown, and we'll see it on Monday, depending on the outcome of the street fight between Damian and Finn when it comes to Finn and the Judgment Day. But then we got the main event, and this, just like the opening match, was good. Very good storytelling here. Basically, the story was that Seth was letting his emotions get the best of him. And these guys, you could physically see, beat the hell out of each other. They laid into each other. There wasn't no there was no oh, it looks like they laid into him, but they didn't. No, these guys laid in. I think they were told, go out there, beat the hell out of each other, chop each other, hit each other, do what you got to do. And they did. They did. They CM Punk and CM Punk and Seth went out there and do what they had to do. But what's interesting about CM Punk though is this is one thing that people got talking. He was wearing something tonight when he was preparing for his match and he was going to the ring. Hold on, trying to pause it. Alright, sorry about that. I don't know if you heard anything else, but like I said, basically we get to the main event and everything, and essentially CM Punk, as you can see here, walks out with something that he hasn't worn since All Out. That's right, he walks out with his ROH, as some people put, his ROH jacket for the first time on WWE television. He walked out with it. He put his back to the camera when he came out wearing it. He looked up to where the camera was at. It's like when he looked up at the camera. Well, he was looking up because they had drones and cameras all over. Basically, he looks up. It's like he did that on purpose. Like he wanted to basically have everybody that's watching, including, I believe, certain elite individuals, see him walking out wearing the jacket that he wore when he got into that behind-the-scenes brawl before his match at All In London against Samoa Joe, when he got into that backstage brawl with Jack Perry. So yeah, he made sure to wear that on this debut, knowing that everybody's going to be watching it, including those higher-ups in AEW. We all know who we're talking about. He made sure to wear that in front of the world for them to see. And yeah, to say that I'm pretty sure Jack Perry, if not Tony Khan, may be blowing a fuse right now would be an understatement. But we'll find out later. But anyway, yeah, he wore that to the ring. He wore that throughout the night as he was getting ready too, and that's what people noticed. Like, I think even JD from off the script said, you know, the jacket he's wearing is making everybody fear tonight because everybody knows what happened the last time he wore that. Get some more Bud Light there. Yeah, but you know, he and Seth had their match, and like I said, like with the first match, the storytelling here was good. Seth Rollins, as I said, let his emotions get the best of him throughout, and you can kind of tell he was starting to go the more heelish way than usual. So, yeah, the main story though was he was letting his emotions get the best of him, and in the end, it cost him because both men went to the outside. Seth was even getting in the referee's face, and they did name some of the referees. They did, you know, call them by the full names. And he was getting in the one referee's face by saying, "I don't care what you say. Let this go." He was basically telling the referee, you know, he was telling the referee basically, forget the rules. Forget the rules. Let me go out there. Let me go out here and do what I got to do. Let me just throw caution to the wind, basically. Do what I have to do. And the same applies for Punk. And that's what they did. They went and, like I said, they beat the hell out of each other. They legitimately stiffed each other at times. You can definitely see that. And like I said, the emotions got the best of them. Both hit the opposing finishers. Seth hit not one but two go to sleeps on Punk, and Punk hit a stomp on Seth. Both kicked out of them. Both kicked out of them and stuff. Or CM Punk put a foot on the rope after he got GTS for the second time and then stomped. So, and then he got buckle bombed. I don't think we've seen Seth use a buckle bomb in a long time. So that kind of tells you they were allowed to just go out there and do what they have to do to get people talking, to get people on their feet. But yeah, in the end, what happened is basically Seth's emotions got the best of him. He ends up getting GTS into the ropes, which causes him to bounce off the ropes and land on top of the shoulders of an exhausted Punk, who picks him up, very gradually and hits him with another GTS, and then collapses on top of him to get the 1, 2, 3. And yeah, CM Punk wins. Obviously, this is not the end of it because you see the reactions even during the post show of Seth. Seth has got a little blood on him, blood on his face, but you can definitely tell this is not the end. You can tell these two are going to run it back, probably come WrestleMania, if not SummerSlam. That's just my opinion. But they're going to run it back, these two. They're going to run it back. They might even run it back at Saturday Night's Main Event. Not the one upcoming at the end of this month, but I'm thinking a Saturday Night's Main Event in the summer. Either SummerSlam, Saturday Night's Main Event before SummerSlam, or maybe even WrestleMania, but we'll see. But they're going to run this back, and I got a feeling when they run this back, it's going to be unsanctioned. It's what I think. It's going to be an unsanctioned match if they do it. Punk then cut a very passionate promo, basically saying numbers don't matter, and that the only thing that matters is he's going to be coming for some gold. He's going to come for the Rumble. to win the Rumble. He's going to come for Gunther. He's going to come for Cody. He's going to want it all. And then you also got to play into the fact that he's got that favor that Paul Heyman owes him. So, yeah, Punk basically, as some people made a very impassioned promo, post-match promo and everything. I was thinking that the way they were lingering on Seth as he was leaving the ring, he was like sitting on the apron, had this dejected look on his face, and then as he was leaving the ring, I was thinking, as they were focusing on that, even during the post-show, is he going to go into the ring and attack Punk? He didn't do that. I think they're saving that moment. Probably for either next week's Raw or 2 weeks from now. They're either saving it for 2 weeks from now on Raw, or they're saving it for the Rumble or Saturday Night's Main Event. So you're either looking at the Raw 2 weeks from now, or you're looking at Saturday Night's Main Event or the Rumble, when you're going to have the Seth Rollins just snap and go Dark Sidious, if you will, on CM Punk. That's what I think is going to happen. And if you thought Drew McIntyre and CM Punk had a hell of a feud throughout 2024, whether or not Punk was able to compete or not, especially when he was able to compete. If you think they had a hell of a feud, I hate to say that's nothing compared to what Seth and Punk are going to bring to the table in 2025. That's just my opinion. But I do like that during this match, they let Michael Cole be very, share his knowledge on the history between them. Calling Seth by his real name, how Seth went to CM Punk's school to train, didn't have the money, so he decided to leave and come back later, and then they met back up at NXT and stuff. So I like that little knowledge drop by Michael Cole about all this, and especially how when the Shield came in at first, they were CM Punk's mercenaries. Because remember, when the Shield came in, 2012? I think 2012, 2013. No, it was 2012. They were aligned with Punk for a bit. They were aligned with Punk and everything. So yeah, it's a great bit of knowledge dropped there by Michael Cole. And overall, match was good, especially from a storytelling perspective, in my opinion. And again, they're going to run this back. Something's going to happen between now, Saturday Night's Main Event, and Royal Rumble. Guarantee it. And for its first outing on Netflix, I have to say Raw did decent. They didn't hit it out of the park, but it was mainly, as some people have said, a showcase for those that may be new to the product, that, hey, this is what we got to offer if you want to add us to your list. Because, if you have a Netflix account, you could add certain shows and movies to your playlist. And this is one I'm definitely going to be adding, there's no doubt. But that's why they did it this way, to showcase to those that know about WWE, but not entirely, that, hey, this is what we have to offer here now on Netflix, if you want to add us to the playlist and have reminders of, upcoming Raws and stuff in the future. But overall, I thought they had a decent first outing, and I think, again, with everything that, everything like timing and commercial wise, again, you have to remember that just the new to the streaming platform, so it's going to take them time to really adjust to things being a little bit more different. It's going to take time on both ends of the spectrum, WWE and Netflix, to kind of adjust to how they lead into commercials. They do cut-ins and cutouts and stuff like that. It's going to take them time, but I think they will get there. There's no doubt in my mind. And surprisingly, no glitchy problems. I mean, even Rock joked about that in his promo, saying, if there's a glitch here, I'm going to come up there. And he was telling the execs of their Netflix, jokingly, hey, if I get glitched here, I'm going to come up there and kick your ass. But yeah, overall, good for show, decent. And they have 5 years, maybe 10 years to really and the rest of this year mainly, to really improve on some of the mishaps here and timing issues and stuff going forward. And I think maybe by next week you'll see some improvements with the program, in my opinion. The other thing about Raw being on Netflix, according to what Paul Levesque said in an interview, is the time of the show is going to be more flexible. So like tonight was around, like I said earlier, a little over 3 hours, 3.5 hours. But when you hear flexible, you're hearing maybe along the lines of an hour and a half, 2 hours at most, or 3 hours at most actually, but 2 hours, an hour and a half, maybe 45 minutes if necessary. That's kind of what I'm getting the vibe of, but I'm mostly flexible wise. I'm getting the vibe of maybe 2.5 hours to 3 at most. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. And I think also going the 5 match structure, the 5 to 6 match structure, now with Raw on Netflix, mainly, doing it in a PLE style, it's going to give a lot of the matches that are featured and advertised time to breathe. And that's just me. But I think one of the things they need to work on, and I'm sure they're going to get criticized about this, they'll get talked to about this, is do not do any commercials during important matchups. Like the tribal combat match and Punk and Rollins did not need commercials. And I think if they work on that, then next week they need to show, that they've improved on that, and that the street fight between Balor and Priest and the Women's Intercontinental Championship need to be commercial free, in my opinion. But again, thought it was good. Thought it was a decent first outing, and we'll just see what they got planned going forward. I think they're going to improve, like I said, over time with their timing issues and stuff like that. And that's really about what I think all they need to do. And then they'll be off to the races, and we're going to have, better Raws presentation-wise and match-wise and story-wise than we had tonight during its first outing. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are on Monday Night Raw debut on Netflix. What did you think about it? What do you think needs to be improved on? What did you think about The Undertaker coming out and endorsing Rhea Ripley, basically saying she is the Undertaker, she is the phenom of the women's division? Because that's a big endorsement there. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on the drone shots throughout the show? How did you feel about that? How did you feel about Punk wearing his Ring of Honor Triple X jacket? Before the match and as he was heading to the ring. What do you think about that being a nice little callback to All In a couple years ago? And do you think him wearing it, on this night and then looking into the camera, the upper camera, drone, if you will, while he's walking to the ring, almost like he's looking directly at somebody, was done on purpose towards, a certain elite individual or so? What are your thoughts? Let me know. Let me know in the comment section. Love to hear what your thoughts on that and everything. And what did you think overall? What did you think overall? Of the first outing on Netflix. What did you think overall? But until next time, guys, comment down below, like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, click on the links in the description to find my content elsewhere here on the internet. Also, check me out at DeviantArt at deviantart.com at BVW1979 and at inkbunny.net at BWRoses, and click on the link to the Teespring store for merchandise you can't get anywhere else. But guys, give me your thoughts. What did you think of this first outing? How did you feel about it? What are your thoughts on Chad Gable's match next week against, obviously Penta, who was officially revealed tonight as being the new luchador coming in? What are your thoughts on all that? And until next time, I will talk to you later. But yeah, give me your thoughts. How did you feel about the show?